Hey YouTube, back on our deck profile. Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my newly updated Blau deck. So Blau is a deck that's been... He appears randomly from time to time. It's kind of like one of those rogue decks, although sometimes you do see him in tournaments. In the past, he was actually really good. He was probably one of the better, more consistent Nova Grappler decks out there until Bushiroad decided to keep on boosting Beast Deities for a while. Till the point where Beast Deities actually became the better one to play over Blau. And then they also had the Extreme Battler stuff during Stride, when Strides came out, and they kept on making Extreme Battlers get new stuff. But Blau finally got some really nice support, making this deck over-the-top, crazy, traditional old-school Nova Grappler style crazy. That's all I'm going to say. It is really fun to play as, and it's really annoying to play against, unless you're playing a deck that is a defensive type deck that can really handle this deck's explosive, crazy power and restand capabilities. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So to start off, they got a new Break Ride. I know, Break Ride. People are like, whoa, eye roll. Break Ride in 2017. But this guy is actually quite good in the sense that he gives the Vanguard the ability to restand, or actually, no, he doesn't give them the ability to restand. The other Vanguards have the ability to restand. What he has, or what he gives them is, in addition to the 10,000, he gives the ability to prevent the opponent from calling a Sentinel. So basically, if they don't have G Guardians, they're gonna have a really hard time dealing with the Break Ride turn of this guy. If this was new back in Break Ride format, oh man, this card, like, yeah, I've playtested this deck a couple times and against this deck, and it is really, I mean, it does require a little bit of setup, but it is fast. It's kind of like a more, like, janky, I guess. I don't really know how to say it, like Gear Chronicle style deck, but it's really cool. It's really annoying, especially for decks that do not have a way to disrupt this deck's field. So that would be a lot of people, like Royal Paladin, not counting blasters, and basically like everybody that's not Kagero and Link Joker and Narukami. So that's a lot of people. So next we have Galaxy Blau Lugar. He's the old school cross ride over Stern. The only other grade 3 is Stern, so I'm running one Stern. People are probably wondering why. Well, I mean, you can potentially cross-ride him. I guess you wouldn't really need this guy, and you could just run like 4 of him and 4 of this. I guess that's probably more ideal, but Stern's the old school. I just want to throw him in from way back. And then Galaxy Blau Lugar is also kind of old school now, but he's your restand. Like, basically these two can restand. They have to hit. This guy can only restand, like, if they... Well, you'll get the idea if you ever play against this deck, or if you already have. You already know what I mean. How annoying this deck can be sometimes, but, yeah. So that's the grade 3 lineup. Oh, and when we talk about the Stride later, we're going to show why they're super good. So, in terms of the deck, the cards, like the different decks like Rex, Ancient Dragons, Garmor, and Blau, I think Blau benefited the most because they already had a really nice lineup of old school cards, whereas the others like Garmor, like Liberators especially, their high beasts are kind of lousy. They don't have a really good grade 3 high beast, so yeah, that's kind of why they kind of fall apart a little bit at higher level play. But yeah, Blau doesn't have any of those problems. So we got 4 Mars Blau Lugar, really, really good card, really annoying card. 3 Uranus Blau Lugar, or Uranus, or Uranus, whatever. He basically, when a unit with Blau is placed on V or by striding from a grade 3 unit, he gets 5,000 power, and when your Vanguard attack hits, you may counterblast want to stand him up. So he's got the self-restanding capability. That's actually really good. Mars has it also. I think actually, yeah, it's weird because he only does it when His activates when they stride. He gets the 5k. So at minimum, he can like get 5k. Whereas Mars only gets the 5k when it hits. When the Vanguard's attack hits, he only gets the restand when he hits. But I don't know. Maybe he might actually be better than him at 4-3 or something. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Next, I'm running a new card, Magical Spinner. She's really good. She's got Rush, by the way, so she has the keyword for Nova Grapplers. And when she stands due to the effect of a card, she gets the red skill, which is when her attack hits a Vanguard, you can choose one of the opponent's rear guards that has attack less than or equal to this. So this is kind of like the card that Beast Deities already have a card like this. They've had it for a while. But she has the Rush keyword. She's not Blau, so you can't search her with Morganrot. But she's interesting because she gives the deck potential to retire rearguard, so they just add an additional pressure sort of mind game thing. And then one Blau Lugar, because if you ever ride this guy, it's super annoying to the opponent when you have him with Morganrot behind him. It's just super irritating because essentially you'll get to use Morgan if they let him hit. Then you get to use Morganrot's skill for free, essentially. You don't have to counterblast. Well, you counterblast, but he unflips the counterblast. So one of him, just because it's old school. So we got one of the really old Stern, and him, because they're the original Nova Grappler ride chain. So I'm just featuring them in here. Next, 4 Blau Duncanheight. He's the Blau Sentinel. Really good. Because you got to run him because Morganrot can search him. 4 Flower Ray Leprechaun. She is a strange card. She doesn't have Blau in the name, but she's a Blau support card. So you can't search her. She's not searchable, but she's really a pesky, annoying card. Kind of like the Melum of the deck, sort of, in a way you can think of that, because it's a grade 1 that can swing 12, or it's like basically 11 or higher to the Vanguard by itself. But that's only when she stands. So basically she's the same as Mars. Next 3, Neptune Blau Lugar. This is almost like a Stride Fodder or Stride Enabler card, but it's not exactly a Stride Enabler card. There's a catch. From the hand, you can discard it to have it gain plus 2k, but you have to have a grade 3 with Blau in the soul. So whether you're cross-ridden or you already broke ride in the game, then this thing becomes a Stride Fodder. Otherwise, it's not. But if it's not, then it can just be used as, it has this other effect, which is when it's striding, and you have a grade 3 Blau, you can call it to R. So it's kind of like Rambling Rose. That's the best equivalent I can think of. Rambling Rose from Neonectar for the Maiden of Rambling Rose. Or no, not Rambling Rose, Maiden of Rambler. Yeah, Rambler. Whatever, you guys get the idea. It's kind of like Stride Fodder. Next we have 3 Venus Blau Lugar. This guy is a new one that is kind of like the Buffalo in Beast Deities. I guess there's some other Extreme Battlers. I've never played Extreme Battlers though. This thing, when the thing in the same column as it stands, actually it doesn't even have to be in the same column, so that's actually really nice. If your rear guard stands, if another rear guard stands due to the Blau Vanguard skill, you can stand this thing and then this thing gets 3k, so it becomes a 10. So that's really nice. It's once per turn. It should be restricted. But it's still really good to use, so that's why we run 3 of it. For the trigger lineup, 4 draw. You'll be dropping a lot of cards if you manage to do your restands correctly. So that's why we run the draws. 4 criticals, 4 more criticals, so 8 criticals, 4 heals, and Morganrot, because Morganrot is like the best starter. It's really the best starter for Blau. Morganrot single-handedly was one of the main reasons why the Blau deck was a thing in the past, and it still continues to be really good because of Morganrot. So like I said, the only bad matchups that you have to watch out for are when you're up against obviously Kagero. Narukami can potentially be annoying. Link Joker is also annoying to watch out for. Especially Chaos Breaker, he doesn't fear Morganrot at all. And then there's some other ones, some offhanded ones, like Revengers, Blaster Dart can blow up this guy. So, that's the main deck. Strides, we have Sunny Blau Lugar, 2 of him. He's actually really good because he has an ultimate break skill, or he can bestow an ultimate break skill and allow you to superior break ride, or not superior break ride, but break ride from your hand after he swings. And then the Break Ride gives the additional power and the, like, they can't call a Sentinel effect, so, and he gives the restand effect, so, well, you know, it's just really crazy. So basically, I'll just kind of explain it real quick. So ideally, you want this as the Vanguard. You stride him. You're at 5 damage, so it's kind of like a game ender type play, or like a really big play to wipe out the opponent's hand, so you can try to clean up with your last rearguard line. So essentially, what you do, so you have a column like Morgenrot, you have something like this, and some random thing like Mars. Doesn't really matter. Mars, I guess, is over here, and then you could have like some other random card like over here, whether it's the Leprechaun, something, or a full column. Doesn't really matter. So what you do is you can swing with this guy or that, and you can try to like use this to pick off an interceptor or something. Then you can swing with him. Then they gotta do something. Then you can, after that, you can use this skill to superior break ride him. He'll be standing, he does that break ride skill, he prevents him from using, that thing prevents him from using his, the opponent can't use a Sentinel. Then he swings again, he's 21, I believe. Yeah, so he's swinging 21. They can't use a Sentinel to block him. And then if he hits, and they're already in kind of bad shape because that guy was swinging first, and you're on ultimate break, so usually they're also at 4 or 5 damage as well. So they have to kind of block him most of the time, because if he hits, then he'll just restand again. So yeah, so then he can swing, he'll do his thing, he can restand, then these guys basically try to close out the game. So that's kind of basically the gist of it. I mean, I know I didn't explain it that well. That's the main, like, the main idea of how this deck functions around this guy and those two. So 2 of him, 2 of Moe the Supreme. He's like the rare. He's actually pretty good. He's kind of like a Sarah Kaiser in a stride form. Then for the rest of the stride units, they're really not all as important as those. The older ones are okay. I guess like Mustard's okay. Victoplasma's okay. He's kind of pricey. I don't think a lot of people would recommend using him. But you know, he's a restander. He's very generic. Like on hit, the ability to actually not have an on hit. When your rearguard stands, you can, you can retire something. Retire one of the opponent's stuff. Seabreeze, 2 of the new, Meteor Kaiser. He's quite good. And then I have 3 of the old one. You can run like 2 of them in a Desmo or something. But that's basically it. That's Blau. He's actually really cool. He finally got some decent support. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think of Blau. Do you think it's actually like the best Nova Grappler deck right now? Or do you think Extreme Battlers are better? And what about Beast Deity? My favorite's still Beast Deity. What about them? So, see you guys next time.